Welcome to Motorsport at the Movies. I'm Jake Sanson, and this week it's time to talk about the only motorsport movie ever to win an Oscar. This year marks 50 years since Formula One's greatest appearance on the big screen, Grand Prix, released in December 1966, giving the world the most intense and intrusive look at the gripping world of Grand Prix racing. Two men decided they wanted to make a Formula One film at the same time, and they quite literally raced each other to get it made. Those two were John Frankenheimer, who gave us The Manchurian Candidate, and John Sturges, the man behind The Magnificent Seven and The Great Escape. When Steve McQueen tested for the lead role in Grand Prix and subsequently turned it down, he joined Sturges on the Day of the Champion project, leaving Frankenheimer with Jim Rockford himself, James Garner. In the end, the Frankenheimer project won the day, although 27 reels of film shot at the Nürburgring by Frankenheimer couldn't be used in the final film, as it had already been turned over to Sturges, who had also been filming there. Criminal! Just criminal! One thing Frankenheimer knew how to do was put a great cast together. Alongside James Garner as Pete Aaron to play British driver Scott Stoddard, he brought in Brian Bedford, later the voice of the Disney version of Robin Hood, while Jean-Pierre Satie was portrayed by Yves Montand, France's #1 film star, and the Italian heartthrob Antonio Sabato took on the role of Nino Barlini, with Japanese star Toshiro Mifune taking the role of Isso Yamura, Pete Aaron's team boss. For the female cast, Eva Marie Saint played Montand's love interest, whilst Garner and Bedford's tug-of-love femme fatale was Jessica Walter. But the find of the picture was French pin-up sensation Françoise Hardy, who made her name in the film and became a European fashion goddess throughout the 60s and 70s. Let's be honest, chaps, not bad. Being filmed around Formula One, you would have thought cinematography would have been a logistical nightmare, and to a certain extent, that was quite true. But Bernie wasn't in charge back then, and nobody was saying no. So an incredible feat of death-defying intelligence was used to capture the true essence of racing, with camera mounts strapped to Formula 2 cars, and even a Ford GT40, as it was the only car fast enough to keep up with Formula 1 cars. The plot wasn't bad either, with just the right mix of attention to detail of the sport, with the romance schmomance that keeps the network happy. Well, you kinda have to, really. Most of the driving duties were taken up by Phil Hill, 1961 Formula One world champion, who also played a cameo in the movie, as did Graham Hill, Richie Ginther, Jochen Rindt, Jack Brabham, and Dan Gurney, amongst many others. The actors themselves left the driving to the pros in most cases, with Sabato and Bedford uncomfortable doing any driving at all. It was actually Jackie Stewart who drove for Bedford, by the way, whilst Montand was usually towed behind the Ford GT40. Meanwhile, Garner was very eager to do as much driving as physically possible, and like Steve McQueen 5 years later while shooting Le Mans, he caught the bug, and actually took up racing as a result of making the movie. Result! Frankenheimer saw a chance to be innovative making Grand Prix with a Grand Hotel-style approach to an untamed mode of cinema, and his split screening coupled with never-before-seen onboard cameras and the soundtrack of the cars themselves to paint the pictures of the story earned it Oscars for Best Editing, Best Sound, and Best Sound Effects. Don't believe me? Just buy the Blu-ray version, then come back and thank me. Grand Prix could never have been made now, and therefore remains a unique masterpiece of daring and determination. 5 stars is an absolute must. It eclipsed all before it and has never been matched since, with 3 Oscars and $20.8 million at the box office, more than twice the budget. It's no wonder Frankenheimer revisited some of those techniques in the 1998 spy epic Ronin, which contains the best car chase in movie history. Don't you dare argue. Will there ever be a Formula One movie like this again? Well, Rush did come close, but somehow I don't really believe it'll ever be bettered. Hopefully F1 fans the world over will still be raving about this 5 decades from now. So happy birthday Grand Prix, and here's to the next 50 years, unbeaten.
Well, that's my opinion, folks, but what did you think? Was it top-notch or a flop watch? Was I too harsh or too fair? Let me know your opinion with the comments box below. And of course, give me your suggestions as to which movies you'd like to see reviewed in the future. It could be one of these. I'm Jake Sanson for Raceworld TV. See you next time.